Recorded sound. It's everywhere. In your car, in your house, on your computer. Anywhere you go, you can hear recorded sound. It's one of the most influential and pervasive innovations known to modern society. From Thomas Edison's phonograph in 1877 to the modern MP3 file, the recording sound has become the best way to share, sell, and inspire one of the most commonplace things in the world: music. Before 1877, you could only listen to live music. There was no way to physically record audio of any kind. That year, Thomas Edison invented a prototype of something that would change music history forever. Edison created the phonograph as a dictation machine for office use. He was able to have it record his own voice and have it played back to him. It wasn't used for musical purposes, however, until Emil Berliner invented the disc-spinning turntable. His business failed and was bought out by the Victor Company, and the Berliner's gramophone turned into the Victrola. The Victrola was an instant sensation and became the first successful mass-market record player. But they were expensive. The jukebox was soon developed by those who couldn't afford the Victrola. Jukeboxes were set up in diners and outside movie theaters all over America. The appeal of these machines was that you could pay 25 cents and choose from a variety of songs. By 1939, there were 225,000 jukeboxes in America, consuming 13 million discs a year. Through jukeboxes and radio, which now relied largely on music for their programming needs, music was spread across the nation. These record players were serviceable, but they were very bulky and stationary. America needed a portable listening machine. The answer came in a very unexpected way. While soldiers were invading German military radio stations after World War II, machines called magnetophone recorders were found. Hitler had used them to record his hate speeches in order to influence and control his country. These machines, along with high-quality tapes, were sent back to America and studied, eventually becoming the most high-tech form of recording music. All music was now made on tape. The advantage of tape was that it could be cut and spliced together. You could take parts out, add effects, and work on the song meticulously in the studio before transferring it to disc. The public also enjoyed this new form of listening to music. With Sony's new cassette players and portable Walkmans, introduced in 1979, customers could easily listen to their cassette tapes whenever they wanted to. Tapes were smaller and easier to store than records, and quickly dominated the music industry. DJs, however, continued to use vinyl records. Their job primarily involved flipping discs, but later evolved to permit them to more creativity. Some DJs were given the opportunity to choose songs for their radio shows. This developed into Top 40, a chart of the most requested songs on the radio. Later DJs found ways of creating their own music by blending different recordings into one. DJs on the radio and at discos and parties became tastemakers and trendsetters. Part of the appeal was that the profession blended well-known songs into a creative, new mix. Recorded music was their raw material that influenced and exploited musical tastes and encouraged the use of the newer record players that were coming on the market, which were less expensive but were more sophisticated and had great sound quality. With all of this new technology, the music itself also got better. Recordings were developed to have multiple tracks, so that all of the instruments could be recorded separately, giving the songs much more depth. Bands such as the Beatles could also experiment with recordings from other outside sources. The Beatles utilized classical and Eastern influence in their music, as well as other sound effects. In experimental songs such as Revolution 9, the band tried many different techniques and entered lots of unorganized sound into one track. Other bands used these ideas to develop their own experiments. The 49-minute-long instrumental, Tubular Bells, released by Mike Oldfield in 1973, incorporated many layers of recordings. Pink Floyd's album, Dark Side of the Moon, also pioneered in many of these effects, using the new development of click tracks and loops to give the song a metronome-perfect rhythm. The click tracks give audio clues that enable musicians to synchronize various tracks. They were originally used in the production of early sound movies. Loops are clips of recorded sound that can be repeated as many times as necessary. Finally, because of the technological advances that were being made in the world of computers, the digital CD or compact disc entered the scene in 1980. Digital technology replaced years of analog software. Songs could be edited digitally, a process much easier than splicing tape. The CD made it possible for anyone to make an infinite amount of digital copies of a song. Unfortunately for the record industries, companies such as Dell and Apple saw the digital CDs as a potential for audio applications and developed computers with CD drives so that the songs could be ripped onto the computer as MP3 files. The flaw was how easy it was to upload these files to the internet. Websites such as Napster, Morpheus, Rockster, LimeWire, and Kazaa emerged. On these websites, you could download the MP3 file onto your computer for free. Soon, this became the most popular way of obtaining music, and caused a major deficit for the record industries and music artists who didn't receive any money for these downloads. Almost any song could now be found easily on the internet. When this practice became illegal, Macintosh attempted to save the industry by creating a legal online store called iTunes where you could buy songs for a small price. Although this became a popular method of buying songs, it did not stop the appeal of free file sharing websites. Recorded music has made its way into the everyday life of most teenagers and young adults around the world. A lot of the older generations have started to adapt using the new technology, some of which adapts their older music players to work today. On MP3 playing devices such as the iPod and the Zune, people are able to take their music anywhere. A standard 8GB iPod can hold around 1,750 songs, an amount of music that would fill 139 CDs, making whole music libraries easily accessible. This road has not been easy, however. Besides the ingenuity that is required to develop new musical software and hardware, there have been people who have opposed the recording of music. They claim that music is meant to be listened to live, and that capturing it does not do justice to the artists. People such as the president of the American Federation of Musicians, James Petrillo, and musicians like Fred Waring actively dislike recorded music. They claim that it put musicians out of work, and sued several radio stations for playing it. Recorded music has almost completely surpassed live music, as concert and opera ticket sales decline today. Music is more permanent, ready to spread to other countries and influence other artists. Digital music is necessary to broaden the horizons of other artists and make the listener experience more pleasurable. We use recordings every day, most times not even thinking about it. Thomas Edison would be proud to know that his simple dictating machine has evolved into one of the most common objects in modern society.